Hey guys, I'm going to be talking about transactions in Prisma, and we'll be using Gibber, the federated social network that we are building as an example for this. But first, let me say there's two kinds of transactions in Prisma. There's these nested writes and the batch transactions. So nested writes, that's when you give it a structured object that has keys like data. So the data will have the user object, and then let's say users have posts associated with them. So you could then give it the post key, and you want to say like create these two posts. So then when this runs, it has two queries. It has one query that creates the user and another query that creates two posts. But let's say the query that creates two posts fails. Well, then it will then revert the query that was run to create the user. So you can see how this would be really useful in something like creating a user post that has attachments associated with it. Because let's say the attachments fail to upload, then you probably want to revert the creation of that post. So if we look at this, you can see this was successfully created. And if we look at the code, you can see I'm using a Prisma transaction. This isn't the nested version. It's actually the second kind of version that I'll talk about. It's kind of a personal preference on which you want to use. But I like to use this transaction one since I feel like you can structure it. Structure it in a way that's easier to comprehend, at least in my opinion. And there's two kinds. There's sequential operations and interactive operations. So the sequential operations is when you give it like multiple queries, like find many and then count it. So if any one of those fails, it's just like an array of Prisma functions. But then the other one, the interactive transaction, allows you to write stuff in a function. Like if we look at this, they're updating the account of the sender, and then they're doing some checks. This might fail, so we have to roll back the previous transaction. If it succeeds, it goes to the next. So this is the one that I am using because we have to do things like upload user documents, like maybe copy an S3 object, delete the S3 object, do some checks on an S3 object. If any of this stuff fails, we want to roll back the creation of this post. So we can do that by wrapping all of this stuff in a Prisma transaction, and it gives you this variable that you can then use just like the normal Prisma variable. But instead, if any one of these functions throws an exception, it will then roll back all the functions that use this variable. So that is basically how transactions work in Prisma, and this can be applied to other ORMs too. But general overview, make sure you subscribe for more tidbits like this. So thank you for watching.